I feel like I'm the asshole no matter what. Let me describe my situation first. I, 34, met my wife, 36, 4 years ago. We got engaged, married after 1 year. Together, we have a two-year-old daughter. We're both working freelance, and her income is usually 2 or 3 times more than mine. We work equally in terms of time spent. When one person is working, the other takes care of the baby. As she earns more, she spends more. She treats herself and the family members, 1 child and 2 cats, at her level of income. For example, we dine out a bit too much. I try to cook, not bad, but she usually doesn't feel like eating at home. She loves to buy expensive fruit over the affordable ones, or buy costly clothing, bags, or a top-of-the-line rice cooker. At the same time, she wants to feel equal in providing for the family. I try my best. I always sleep later and wake up earlier to meet her expectations and maybe haven't met them yet. So I always run out of money every month. Every time I bring this into conversation, it's always, I have the right to use my money. There's no way to get her to spend at the same rate as my income, which is above average in my city. She used to work in the fashion industry, so she's a bit picky about what she wears. I never thought about sitting down with her to write down every item on her wish list because what she can buy, she already buys, and what she can't buy, I can't help her with. At least that's what I think. So today she bought a Chanel lipstick, first time after 3 years, and I intended to say, let me pay, asked for the price, and she replied, $50. I said, wow, a $50 lipstick? Normal people can never use this. I can't afford it at the moment, so I didn't suggest paying for her either. She felt disappointed because of what I said, and because I never buy her any significant things except on birthdays. Her last birthday's gift was a small necklace worth $1.05 of my monthly income, and some special occasions in the 4 years we've been living together. Apart from occasional flowers, I rarely buy her any significant gifts in daily life because I never save enough for this. I mean, it's not my priority to buy her excessive stuff that she doesn't really need. Does she usually have gifts for me? She gifted me many shirts, 5 to 7, and pants, 3 in the first year we met, not so after that. She gifted me 3 birthday presents, a coat, a helmet, and a phone, a decent second-hand phone. I choose to replace my broken one. I don't really remember anything else recently. Now looking back, I can tell how she's obsessed with fashion and want to put nice clothes on me. I feel thankful, for sure, but you see, those things are practically good, but too boring. My birthday's gift for her is an Instax camera, a wooden music box with horses cart riding the marrying couple, which turn out to be our daughter's favorite toy, and a necklace, her choice. I try to be creative. Do I know that what she wants is only a tangible gift to show her my love? Yes, I know. She told this directly to me. In my defense, I want to shout out that my financial strain caused by following her lifestyle, so I could hardly budget anything even for myself. I'm not doing that. I'm writing here to ask for your help instead. I bought her flowers once every 2 months. I bought snacks and small gifts, funny keychains, occasionally. But those things is too easy to buy, so maybe she dismissed it. Do we have joint account? Do we really pay 50-50? We used to have a joint account and we put 50-50 into it. Somehow it's complicated to handle it, so we dismiss it after 2 or 3 months of marriage and spend on our own. Yes, we target for 50 on essential things, the renting, the kids, expense, the markets, foods and dine out meal, healthcare, daily stuffs. It's very depend on every month. But I could say she paying more in general. It could be something between 55 to 45 to 60. Even I pay less. My money is running out frequently. For example, she pay $1,000 and I pay $800. She still have a big deal of money to spend on clothes and sandals and accessories for her and our daughter, more than what they need, expensive fruits and snacks, milk, tea. After that, she still remains some for saving. Is she a materialistic person? No, I don't think so. I think it's because our love language is, for example, I touch her and say I love her a lot, but she doesn't enjoy doing that. She usually said, it's not the words matter, the actions, gifts matter. I spend time with her, listen to her more than enough, and she thinks that's just obvious couples obligations. I must have a real talk with her, or us with counselor, to set up an equitable expense, not equally expense. Following that, we should have a joint account. I should also budget for some gifts, which is her go-to love language. What do you think about? Here are some popular comments.
I would say if you are not earning the most money but paying for the majority of the essential living expenses, that the only reason she can afford to buy those things for herself is that you are covering her salary's fair share of those living expenses. You do contribute to her ability to buy those nice things just indirectly. Either redistribute your finances so that she pays the appropriate percentage of household expenses, or sit down and have a very clear budget meeting where you spell out how your income is being spent, this hers, and how she needs to adjust her expectations.
I earn 3 times what my husband does. We share all our money. It's our money. Having said that, he is extremely thoughtful and great at giving gifts, etc. I feel like there are 2 separate issues here: how you split finances and not finding ways to show your wife you care.
No offense, dude, but you had dated longer. Rather than jumping into marriage, you might have realized that this is something that you're incompatible at. The way people spend money, frugalness, or their inability to understand your spending habits is a huge deal breaker. Emo.
If someone insists on expenses being split 50-50, then they need to accept that those expenses will be set at a level proportionate to the lower income earner's capacity. Your problem goes beyond a question of gifts. Your financial arrangement is fundamentally unfair.
So what does that mean? To me, realistically, y'all need to sit down and hash out a better budget. And stop eating out all the time. Eliminating that one thing will make such a difference in your income, it's not funny.
Has she asked you to buy her makeup and clothes, or are you assuming she wants that? They are very personal items. I'm not sure I'd want a man buying mine, but I don't think this is about that. I think there is no balance in your relationship, and you need to sort that out.
You sound really incompatible. Your wife isn't in some way morally flawed because she likes to spend her money on designer things. I don't think you're necessarily an asshole, so NAH I guess, but you sound resentful, and I'm not sure why. If you truly love each other and want to stay together, I guess you could start saving a little bit of money to buy her a gift every 6 months or something, and she can compromise with not eating out as much. I don't understand this thing about wanting to feel equal in providing for the family. If she earns 2-3 times more than you, surely she pays more? In my marriage, we own the house and pay the mortgage equally, but my husband pays 2/3 of the bills because he earns more.
Your wife is rich. She can buy almost anything that she wants. However, what she wants is the feeling that her man is generous. She knows that you don't earn a lot. However, every so often you should buy her something which is of significant cost. Don't go into debt, but don't be stingy. I heard this once. The idea of buying flowers symbolizes your willingness to spend money on something unnecessary just to please your wife. Many women find this attractive because it represents generosity and assures a willingness to provide. I don't make a lot of money. However, on occasion, I will spend money on something overpriced, which I think is silly, but I know that my wife would like. I see it as no different than buying an expensive bouquet of flowers. You don't need to constantly do it, but I'm sure you can budget enough to occasionally splurge. I'll save up a few $100s to buy her something she really loves for birthdays or anniversaries, but I don't do it frequently enough to hurt myself financially.
I have seen your more detailed comment about how expenses are split, and it is not fair. She earns more but expects you to be able to live at her level of lifestyle. It should at least be the other way around. Like, yes, she can buy herself expensive clothes, etc., but making you pay for majority of restaurant meals because she doesn't want to eat at home is not okay.
That said, it does sound like you need to sit down and have a real talk conversation about this. If your relationship dynamic has a more separated manner for finances versus one where your incomes are pooled and then used as a whole, then the conversation will need to be something along the lines of, you're allowed to spend your money the way that you wish to. However, my income is X per month. If we want to be equal with the non-negotiable costs for our family, rent, mortgage, groceries, bills, etc., then you need to meet me at that amount first. Anything above that, you're free to do with as you please. From that foundation, you can make tweaks and adjustments to allow for things like you being able to cover the cost for a fancy lipstick or whatever. If you're not met in that level of equal, then there shouldn't be expectation that you spend that money on things for her.
You're married. What would be fair would be to pool all your earnings and aim for equal in the following areas. Equal work, paid and unpaid all count, equal leisure time, equal spending money. That means if you have fewer paid work hours, you pick up more of the house chores and childcare to even it out, so you are both contributing equal effort. Then allow each other equal time off. Lastly, agree on an affordable, sustainable amount of spending money and split it equally. What each person spends that on is their choice. Then your pooled money pays your expenses, and there's no stressing about who can afford dinner or who's paying rent. You both live the same lifestyle with the same amount of effort and downtime, and there should be less resentment.
I feel you all have an unfair arrangement and you are getting screwed over. She makes more, she should be paying more of the expenses. Then you wouldn't be broke all the time. My fiance and I have been together for almost 15 years and have both chosen to stay unmarried but solely committed to one another. We work at the same place, but he has been there 11 years and I'm on my 3rd year there. So he makes a considerable amount more than I. Of our joined income, I make about 40% of it and he 60%. So that is how we split our living expenses. He pays 60% and I pay 40%, which leave us both with about the same percentage of extra money. And what we each put into our savings is about the same percentage each. And then whatever we want to spend on extra stuff, we both have a nice little cushion to do so since we split our expenses according to what we each bring in. It has worked wonderfully, and we have never had any financial issues that way.
Could it be that it's not the money troubling you, but your resentment that she's spending and making more than you? Maybe dismissing her $50 lipstick, which to me is a bargain for Chanel, makes her feel bad. She can afford it, so why can't she buy it if it's what she likes? I think this has more to do with your ego than anything else, and I would suggest some therapy for both of you to come together on this issue. Remember, people divorce over money more than any other reason.
You both need to sit down and talk about what is realistic to spend. You're going to go completely broke trying to keep up with her. However, you shouldn't tell her to slow down her spending if she's using her better financial situation as leverage to get you to do things or to disrespect you. That's a problem. It sounds like you two need to work with a wealth management financial planner. You should not be running out of money by the end of the month trying to keep up with her spending. Maybe instead of her money and his money, it should your as in the two of you money. Find out everything you both have for all joint expenses, savings, housing, utilities, cars, kids' needs, clothing budgets, entertainment, food, eating out, and savings. Agree on a budget that includes fun money for each of you, with her attitude of her spending more of her money on spludges, because she should be able to spend her money, yeah? But if you suddenly start earning twice what she does, do you get to go buy the car of your dreams and pick up an expensive hobby that uses of the rest of the difference between her salary and yours? No, she'll want to have more money to spend or suddenly want to be a stay-at-home wife and live off your income and, again, keep spending as she already does.
Your wife and you need couples counseling. Finances are one of the biggest reasons couples break up. Is she feeling some sort of resentment as the higher-earning partner? Are there cultural gender role issues at play? I can tell you, many marriages do suffer where the woman earns more. No, it's not always because the man feels inferior. Sometimes women feel inferior to other women who are being taken care of by their spouses in that way. You all need to sort out your feelings and figure out a more realistic split of household finances.
As a married couple, you should agree to split the expenses in an equitable manner that takes into account each person's income, for example. If you make minimum wage, you can't expect that person to contribute the same as someone making six figures. I don't think she married you for the money. What I am reading is that you are basically roommates with a kid and a lifestyle beyond your means. This isn't even a partnership at this point. I am betting that she does not trust you to pool income and expenses into a joint account because she enjoys having the upper hand while spending as she sees fit, which is unfair to you. Couples should have financial goals that they can meet together to cover educational expenses for their children and for retirement. Where is that in your marriage? I would start declining the dining out requests to save money for starters and talk to her about reworking your budget.
You don't earn the same amount of money, but you pay the same, and you struggle. This is unfair to you, and she sucks that she gets mad at you for suggesting to change that. If we love someone, we want them to do well, and this is putting unnecessary stress on you. If your salary is above average, you shouldn't struggle at all, and she needs to pull her weight financially. Maybe you agree that each of you get a certain amount of fun money per month, but if gifts are her love language and you only buy them at special occasions, then you are in the wrong too. Maybe I am not fashionista enough for this, but I am sure you can find affordable gifts to surprise her. Maybe she wears a lot of red. Why not look for something in that color in your budget? Personally, I think the thought put behind a gift is much more important than the gift itself, and that seems to lack a bit. Oh, and as a woman, $50 for a lipstick isn't unusual, especially if it lasts her for such a long time. If you really are concerned about the price, then you can, however, do some research in some dupes with similar color and formulations. Especially eyeshadow palettes can get expensive. But there are lots of sources that compare products on color payoff and formulation. I don't know if your wife would appreciate it, but it's worth a shot, no?
Honestly, you need to have a serious talk about your approaches to finance and spending. Neither is necessarily wrong, but they're currently at odds. You're also conflating two issues because they both revolve around money. They should be discussed separately. Your wife would like to be shown appreciation through thoughtful, tangible gifts. Flowers and food are lovely, but they're consumed quickly and are very generic. Think about what your wife likes, even if you don't value that. Household spending currently might be even, but isn't equitable if you're paying a significantly higher portion of your wage for the basics. If this is your wife, you should be in a partnership and you're still discussing everything very individually. A simple way could be a joint account where 60% of each wage goes to pay for the household, rent, utilities, groceries, etc.
Honestly, when it comes to household expenses, surely you should be having a separate household account. You both pay into divided logically by your income. Keep it simple. Say one earns $100K and another earns $75K. You work out the percent you are bringing to the bills and put your own split into the bill account. The rest after your split is your own funds. You are a partnership and love and support each other, so I am applying logic here. You both want each other to be happy. When it comes to the fun money or whatever is left after your split of household bills, you still want some savings and you will still have unexpected joint expenses. Household disaster, random birthday, holidays, or unexpected night out, etc. You can obviously also do an additional social bank account you pay into on the same. BUFML. Why make it so complicated and mathematical? You are both working to the same goals, so I get there needs to be a vague formula, but partners need to work together sometimes. Personally, I am not makeup-oriented, so $50 for a lipstick would take me by surprise, genuinely being naive on cost, lol, not judging what people spend. Sort out your disposable income between you, fairly, and communicate. Then when it comes to treats, you both know the budget available. At least then you can choose a single lipstick in your budget as a gift, if that is what hits the mark, rather than setting a budget and buying smaller, unappreciated gifts.
I see this a lot with couples of different earning capabilities when the higher earner is a woman, mostly because of socialization around money and traditional approaches to who should be the breadwinner, etc., can drum up some lizard brain anxiety in men. This can absolutely be managed. You're the problem, but not in the way you think. It's not just about the lipstick or the expensive fruit or even the spending imbalance. It's about what money represents in your relationship. It sounds like there's an unspoken struggle happening between you and your wife. She wants to feel equal in providing, and she also wants to feel cherished. And you, feeling financially strained, seem to believe that if you can't match her level of spending, you're excluded from expressing love in this way at all. So instead of working with the reality of your income, you've disengaged from this part of your relationship. You say, she buys what she wants, and I can't help her with what she can't buy. That statement alone is telling because it suggests that when it comes to gift giving, luxury, and care, you don't see yourself as an active participant. And yet you're resentful of how money is being spent. You do put in effort, you work long hours, you're contributing as an equal parent, but it seems like there's a quiet frustration under the surface, a feeling of being undervalued or overlooked that might predate this singular event. Do you feel like your efforts don't count in the same way money does in your household? Maybe that's why you reacted so sharply, and perhaps disproportionately, to the lipstick. It wasn't about the $50. It was about this festering, unspoken imbalance between you two. So the real issue isn't about girly stuff or whether you should prioritize her luxuries, because it appears she's doing that herself. It's about how you express love and whether your wife feels emotionally, not just financially, taken care of by you. Her disappointment isn't about Chanel. It's about wanting to feel valued by you in a way that's not just practical, but romantic and intentional. What would happen if instead of focusing on what you can't buy, you got creative about how to make her feel loved in ways that don't depend on income parity? Can you acknowledge that money isn't the only form of contribution? It's time to have one of those very vulnerable and difficult conversations about what things mean to you deep down, about what money, care, and partnership actually mean in your marriage. Because you're currently speaking two languages.